Are you blind to your own goodness? Hi, I'm Anne-Margaret Redding with this week's Sacred Sunday message to raise the vibration of your body, mind, and spirit. So, in today's talk, we're going to examine the addiction of perfectionism, the traps of self improvement, and then also learn how to own your own goodness and how that is the most liberating act of self love you'll ever do. And then, lastly, we'll pick two intuition cards to access that subconscious insight, okay? All right, so let's get started. So, those of you who are watching this are most likely already on this path of self awareness, which just being on, frankly, is an honorable step in itself. However, those of you who haven't been on this path for some time may not feel this yet, but those of you have may have found a lack of satisfaction when you realize that the growing never stops. So if every time we discover an aspect of ourselves that needs improvement, we feel shame or discouragement or disappointment, we're actually strengthening the synapses of the brain that link our own awareness or this discovery to this shame and this disappointment. So we're linking the synapses, and every time we recognize it, we feel bad about ourselves. So, and if every time someone hurts us, we would examine our own behavior and worry endlessly. What did I do? What did I do to deserve this? Going around and around and comb through what we said or what we did so that we can figure out what we did to cause this behavior or this hurtful action in some way. We're going to be miserable. So today we're looking at how do we keep our awareness, how do we keep growing, celebrate that growing, but also not take on the behavior of others when it's directed us in a negative way. Okay, this can be very liberating if we do this. So let's take a look at first the addiction of perfectionism. I know so many of you out there struggle with this, and there's so many aspects to this that I could examine, but I'll say first, the archetype of the addict. Let's just look at that really quickly. I pulled this card ahead of time. So the addict, all right, this archetype of the addict is very powerful because it's not only a negative thing, right? All archetypes have a light and a shadow attribute. So the light attribute of this addictive aspect of ourselves, and we all have this archetype within us, whether it be drugs and alcohol, work, self-improvement, all right? We have this in our makeup somewhere. So the light attribute of the addict, it helps us recognize and confront our addictive behavior. It just helps us recognize it. But the shadow attribute is this: it compromises integrity and honesty and allows an addictive pattern to have authority over your inner spirit. So when we are on this road to self-discovery and self-awareness, our addiction to perfectionism, to trying to better ourselves, can actually begin to diminish our own inner light, our own awareness, and our own joy of this existence as it is. So what can we do to shift this addiction to our perfectionism? The first thing is to recognize that we are on a journey that is never ending. Perfectionism has this false belief that we are someday, at some time, in some place, going to finally arrive, going to finally be evolved, going to finally have it all figured out, have it perfectly positioned so that our life is just amazing, okay? Without any pain, without any disappointment. Guys, this is not the human reality. The sooner we accept that this is not the place where we live, we are not going to ever attain this perfection, then we can begin to understand what it is we're here to do and celebrate and stop suffering. So first of all, enjoy the journey, okay? Enjoy the journey. We hear that all the time thrown around, but what does this mean? So some people who have enough money to own a helicopter could take a helicopter to the top of Mount Evans, one of the 14ers that I look out my window and I see every day. They can take a helicopter journey up to any of these super tall mountains and miss the entire view on the way up. They'll get up there and they'll see the view, but they'll miss the whole journey. Not just the sights that they're seeing on the way up, but how they're strengthening their bodies, their perseverance, their endurance, the challenge of feeling stopped and moving through it. So the struggle and the pain of the journey, they're going to miss out on. I work with a lot of billionaires. I work with a lot of people who have an insane amount of money, and they struggle with the same thing because they don't find the struggle in their life sometimes where they have things that are just given to them, and they have all these opportunities and this money to do anything that they want, but they haven't gained the self-esteem from having to create from nothing, from having to pick themselves off from nothing. In the same way, do they have other struggles equally as challenging? Of course. But the struggle of the journey and the challenge of the journey is what we're addressing. So enjoy the journey. Secondly, enjoy yourself. You're human. You're never going to be perfect. Never, 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 never. So how can you celebrate not only what you're learning, but how far you've come? And then thirdly, enjoy others. Enjoy others and who they are in your life rather than expecting them to be perfect, expecting circumstances or life to be perfect. They are also human. We are in this human experience. The less we fight it, the more we'll enjoy it. So brain patterning, how can we now shift from when we discover where we need to grow rather than feeling the shame of disappointment and really that we are not there yet? How can we celebrate when we found something? So be in the adventure. This is a crucial teaching. So be in the adventure. Like when you're playing a video game, okay? You're in the adventure of playing a video game or some game in any way. Love when you discover those new levels. Like when you come to the end of a level in a game, whatever it be, maybe you're even playing sports and you've won the tournament, and then the next thing is the next thing, the next goal. Can you celebrate that you've discovered the next level of your own awareness? Rather than beat yourself up. You don't beat yourself up when you get to the end of that first level in a video game and go, oh, I've got another level. Or when you won the tournament and then you realize, oh, there's another tournament or state or nationals ahead, okay? So be in the adventure and then celebrate the ahas. Celebrate them. Don't go, oh my God, now I'm blah, blah, blah. Right? Celebrate the ahas. Instead of going to shame, celebrate the awareness that is new and the challenge that comes with that. This will be a positive emotion associated with your own awareness. All right, let's keep going. So also, notice your filters. Our addiction to perfectionism is based on the premise or the belief that we're looking at the world like, or ourselves, like there's something wrong with it. Like there's something wrong with us, something wrong with the world, etc. All right, others, the world, whatever. So let me just take us back. For those who believe in God, those who believe in that goodness of God saying, look, I created everything and it was good. If God created everything and it was good, stop making it wrong, okay? Instead, recognize that every little piece of this existence, no matter how disappointing, no matter how devastating that it occurs sometimes, let it be good. It's not ideal. Your ego is not going to go, hey, sign me up for cancer, sign me up for a divorce, sign me up for X, Y, and Z, disappointment, devastation, and failure. But we're not talking about our ego. We're talking about our soul in moving through this lifetime. So can you see the painful and discordant parts of your life as directional signage? Like you're driving on the road. Your body, when it's in pain, it's telling you that something's off and needs addressing, a disease in your body. Your life, when things go wrong, is telling you, it's pointing you towards something being off, away from the darkness and towards the light. So take it as directional. Remember that all of this is, like Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage and we're but players on that stage. So the villains that are in our life, how can we not make them wrong, but how can we say, thank you, you're directing me towards goodness by making me aware that I do not want to act like this. Rather than, oh, how could you do this to me? And we take it personally, we own the negativity, and then we get stuck. All right, so let's keep going. So when we're wronged by another, what do we do? How do we own our own goodness and let go of this perfectionism? So the key is asking the right questions after affirming yourself. So when someone hurts you and acts really horribly and viciously, and we've all been there, and those of us who have more of awareness, we almost expect that they should behave exactly like us. Number one, they don't have the same awareness you do, so stop expecting it, okay? Number two, affirming yourself. So the first questions to ask are not, what did I do wrong? Or what did I do to deserve this? Okay? That is self-sabotaging. It's reflective, yes, and that'll come. But first acknowledge that wasn't okay. That was hurtful. No one deserves to be treated like that. Okay? Because regardless, if somebody hurts us, if we're going to act in a way that's violent towards them, they didn't deserve that. They have a lack of awareness. How do we stay in our hearts and act consciously? But let's flip it around. When people hurt us, we say, look, that wasn't okay. We don't say this to them necessarily. We might. That wasn't okay. That was hurtful. And no one deserves to be treated like that. Next, ask, how have my words or my actions, how might have that contributed to this reaction or this behavior towards me? And then finally, correct it. So first, you are affirming. Acknowledge this wasn't okay. Secondly, what did I do that may have warranted this in some way? Warranted, maybe not the right word, may have caused this or preempted this in some way. You didn't deserve it, but you preempted it. And then finally, correct. If you do find something that you said or you did, clean it up, apologize, make amends. There is such a fear around apologizing and really owning what you did. But in that ownership and taking responsibility is freedom. And if you've gone around and around about it and you're like, I really don't know what I did. I feel like this was just an act of viciousness. Like this was not okay. Or even what I said or did not warrant this sort of response, should not have caused this kind of viciousness. We must let it go and get compassionate. Let it go and get compassionate. So how do we do this? We can get compassionate when we own our goodness. When we own our goodness. So how do we do this? We recognize, look, I know I'm a good person. I know I did my best. I know I'm not perfect. I know I apologize for what I did and I'm still getting this vicious behavior. I have seek to understand from the other person how I could remedy this, and I'm still getting a slap in the face. I'm still getting a slam door. What do I do? What to do is this. See the other person, the perpetrator, as a little child. We are all doing the best we can with what we've got, and we cannot expect others to have the same awareness that we do. Otherwise, we're just going to be in suffering, and we're never going to find that freedom. So own the choice. Own the choice to be compassionate and loving. When we own the choice of being compassionate and loving, we can go, look, I am somebody who is going to choose to be loving. Not choose to be loving and compassionate like a mask, but have that energy of compassion and love move through us and love that person. Give them the space to do whatever they need to do, to be upset or whatever. Don't own it. Love them and see that they are working through it in their own way, okay? So the last thing is surrender the competition. It's not a competition. We are all, if we don't recognize that it's not a learning linear path, meaning we're not growing on a line like, I'm up here, you're back there, ooh, I want to get to that person. We unfold, like beautifully said Khalil Gibran in The Prophet, we unfold like a lotus of countless petals. This petal of awareness that we have may have already been open for that person who doesn't have this petal of awareness open yet. So we cannot compare. We cannot have this insane addiction to bettering, and comparing ourselves with where other people are or expecting them to be where we are. Okay? I hope that's helpful. Owning our goodness really liberates us to just be ourselves and not be so concerned about showing up perfectly, saying the right thing. If you say the wrong thing, you'll recognize it, hopefully. Or if the person reflects back that something's off, you can go, did I just say something? I'm so sorry. And recognize your humanity in the moment. This way you don't have to walk on eggshells and own other people's disappointment. Okay, so let's pull a couple of cards and also recognize that we have a women's circle coming up next Sunday. So feel free to join us, ladies. I also offer one-on-one coaching and couples counseling if you're really struggling. I know a lot of people are right now. Let's pull the two cards and then I'll explain it in the notes. Go outside. Oh, this is a good one, Cordelia. You have been indoors for too long. Go outside and get some air. I'll explain it in the notes. Lover. Beautiful. Great passion and devotion, unbridled appreciation of someone or something, Obsessive passion is the shadow that harms others. Self-destructive devotion. Love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, keep raising the vibration. Bye.